Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200-plus signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel. Introducing Zentrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zentrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200-plus signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zentrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.
Okay, what's up people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. As always guys, if you're enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. And if you are interested to check out the AI powered trade signals, I will actually drop the link to the group in the chat. At the moment it is free and limited availability, so make sure you do get at it if you are interested. It will be a paid service in the future, but to celebrate the launch of Zentrix, we are allowing free access to the moment for the AI powered trade signals, and that's the link that will take you to the Telegram, which you have more information on the signals there. But hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone had a good weekend and is well rested and ready for the week ahead. What's up, Forex Guru? Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. What's up, Danny? Good morning. I hope you're well. Welcome. As always, guys, if you are enjoying the content, drop a like before we get started. It does really help out. And subscribe to the channel if, of course, you're enjoying the content and want to see more. But as always, we'll go through the USD side of things first. Take a look at the DXY, USD majors, gold, and silver. If you do have any particular requests of any markets, pairs that you want me to analyze or give my opinion on, or if you're looking to trade something and want me to give my opinion on it, let me know. And of course, let me know time frames as well. I know you guys, you all look at different time frames here. Some people lower, some people much higher as well. So if there's a particular time frame you want me to take a look at as well, let me know. But without further ado, let's get into the USD side of things first. So first things first, as always, is the dollar. Let's see what the dollar's doing. So I have spoken a lot about my bullish bias with the DXY. We've been seeing lower lows and lower highs for quite some time. We broke out of this descending channel, and that pretty much has set my bias, set my tone for the dollar going into the foreseeable future. So since we had that breakout last week, I have been pretty bullish. The only thing is we're lacking momentum. We did see that original breakout after CPI last Tuesday. Then since then, momentum became very flat. We had some other news regarding the dollar as well. Gave us some nice wicks to the upside and to the downside. But since then, the market has been incredibly flat. Now, I am still bullish. There is a very key level of support, which price is now trading above. We have this area here, which I've been keeping a note on, because this was a very key level of resistance recently as price was coming into this area. And again, I was 50-50. Price could have respected this area and we could be looking for sells. or price could break through this area and perhaps we're looking for buys. And of course, that's the situation that we're in right now. So price has cleared that level of resistance and of course cleared that channel, and that's made me bullish. Now at the moment we're just kind of moving sideways, so we're quite flat. So the plan is just looking for some more momentum to confirm that bullish bias that we have kind of reversed this bearish trend, and then we can look for pullbacks and buying opportunities off the back of that. I'm just kind of waiting for a bit more momentum to enter the market before I start looking for opportunities. But in terms of the confluence, in terms of the market structure, it is definitely leaning to the bullish side of things. If the market was going to continue lower, most likely would have respected this area here as resistance. Most likely would have respected that trend line there as well, the upper level of the channel, and probably fell over from that area. The fact that we have broken through and so far respecting this area as support is again a bullish signal, a bullish sign. Not necessarily that we're guaranteed to see more upside, but at least we can favor that as a buyer. So I'm looking for buying opportunities for the dollar as long as we can stay above this area, which is 97. Actually, we'll call it 98. As long as we can stay above 98, that is a bullish bias for me. I'll be looking at more upside, pullbacks, and more upside beyond that as well. We've got some key highs to take note of: 99.5, 100.5, and you got the level up here, 101. We'll call it 102 actually, just shy of 102. So those are the areas which I'll look at for profit taking and just see how the dollar operates at. But in terms of the bias, it is bullish for now. Like I said, as long as we stay above that 98 area, which has we've got the trend line confluence and the breakout confluence, I'm pretty bullish. I have to admit the price action is quite flat on the 4-hour chart, but it might just be a bit of a sideways movement before we do get that breakout, and then hopefully some opportunities off the back of that. But that is the plan at the moment for the dollar, as long as we don't break underneath, of course. Euro USD is a bit more tricky. Of course, if the dollar is going to see a move like that, then of course I would be pretty bearish on Euro USD. If the dollar is going to fly, then I'm not going to look to buy Euro USD, because a strong dollar is going to mean Euro USD is likely to fall. But in terms of the confluences, they're not quite there yet for Euro. This is a similar level on the Euro, which price is actually respecting as support at the moment. I pointed this out on the weekly analysis. If you haven't checked it out, make sure you go do so. I posted it on Saturday. But we have a very solid level of resistance here on the daily chart. At the resistance there again, you can see price has broken through that, and at the moment using it as support. So that's not necessarily giving us a bearish bias there for Euro. The only thing that has really gave me the bearish bias in terms of the pure technical analysis on Euro USD is the breakout of this ascending channel here. Price was in that channel for quite some time. We did break out, of course, alongside the DXY as well after CPI. But we haven't cleared support here, so that's probably explains why we have been a bit sideways and haven't really seen much momentum, because price is kind of stuck at support right now. We do have this counter trend line, which so far is keeping us pretty bearish, but not really giving us a high quality opportunity. I said in the weekly analysis, if price can break to the downside, break through this area, and then come back for a pullback, now that would be something I would be very inclined to trade, because at that point, a break like that's really confirmed to me, okay, the bears are well and truly at play right now. Probably going to break structure to our left over here. We're back below key levels of support, which is going to turn into resistance, and I'll be happy to look for a pullback and some shorts. And probably at that point as well, you probably see the DXY fly to the upside as well, and the dollar's giving you some nice bullish structure to trade. So that would be a high quality opportunity. That would be more of a conservative trade in terms of waiting for the market to completely shift, really give you that confirmed breakout, that confirmed reversal, so to speak, and then look for your pullbacks. That would be the better opportunity to get into some shorts. There might be some shorts at that trend line now for a push down. Like I said, a bit more aggressive. Price still at support, not optimal. Something like this, then a pullback would be a lot more optimal. Of course, you have to be patient for that, and it may never occur as well. Maybe Euro is going to be bullish. Maybe we do break through that and do rise. After all, we are respecting support, so that is definitely a possibility. But like I said, I'm not really so concerned with the bias for Euro. as I'm not really concerned with the sells for the dollar. So that's really what I'm looking at, but we're still quite a bit away from that. So we'll be patient. Pound USD, on the other hand, I quite like the shorts. This one hasn't really broken through support through here yet. So that would be, again, that would be very nice to see if price can clear this low, because this is, of course, our last low, which gave us the last high. So that technically is our, if price was to break that, that would technically be a break of structure. This bullish trend would be at an end, and I'll be looking at more downside. But again, preferably I would like price to break the low, but we don't necessarily have to. It'd still give us a nice head and shoulder opportunity. So that'll be the left, that'll be the head, that'll be the right shoulder, and of course that'll be the neckline. So the pattern is still very much at play, but I always prefer when we do break structure, because that kind of gives me the confidence to say that, okay, this bullish trend has well and truly ended, so the shorts are obviously going to be of a higher probability. Whereas if you do respect the low, it's a slightly low probability trade. Still a good trade nonetheless, but slightly lower probability, and we have to take that into consideration. But I still like the shorts here for pound USD. I'm looking at this area here, brief supply, nice push to the downside. I think that'll be a smart place for a short. Also kind of lines up with resistance to our left over there. You've got highs over there. If you come back, smash into that level, reject it well, I think that'll be a healthy place to short around the 1.355, 1.36 area. And then we can target these lows and potentially some areas further down as well. So I quite like what I'm seeing with pound USD. Sort of same situation with euro in terms of we've broken out of this ascending channel, and now we're looking for the lower high for some more downside. So pretty bearish on pound, waiting for a pullback at the moment, kind of just respecting support right now. There might be some buys at play, but I'm not interested, because I would expect the bigger move to be to the downside. So as a swing trader, that's really where I want to position myself, especially a trend that's been going on for a while, starting to break through trend lines. We've taken out some major highs. It's a market that's starting to fatigue as well, seeing some bigger bearish moves. Yeah, it's not really a trend which I want to keep following unless I see some more life come into it, which at the moment isn't quite there. So shorts is definitely where I want to be paying attention to. So that's the plan there for pound USD. In terms of dollar CAD, keeping a close eye on dollar CAD, being a very corrective move up. So despite the reaction we had at the lows, there hasn't been anything of significance. If I go to the daily chart, we've got some prior support to our left here, which has been flipped and is acting as resistance. So this is actually quite a key area here for dollar CAD. If I go to the weekly chart, you can see prices basically come back into this area of demand. We spent a few weeks here before we had a crazy move to the upside. Prices tapped into that and we're seeing a bit of a reaction. So is this potentially a reversal for dollar CAD? Or is this price just having a pullback to continue and keep falling? I wouldn't say we know the answer yet to that question, but we can keep an eye on that, because I think both are opportunities worthwhile trading. If this is potentially price forming a bottom at this area of demand, and we are going to push to the upside, then what I do want to see is, if we drop to the 4-hour chart, what I do want to see is a break of structure, a price to clear out this high to our left here. So price can break through that. That'll tell me that, okay, the market is going bullish. We can look for some pullbacks, a higher low, maybe a retest of that area. And that would be a smart place for a buy. And maybe start to target some highs there at 1.396. If price is just going to sell off, and this is just a very kind of corrective grind higher, and price is just going to give us a sell, then we're looking for rejection here, perhaps double top, or maybe even a break of this trend line to enter some shorts for a push back into the low here. So I can see price go through both scenarios really. It just really depends what the DXY is going to do. I think if the DXY is going to be bullish and we are going to see a lot more upside, then of course dollar CAD probably does break to the upside and we'll look for some pullback opportunities. So as I said, a break of structure, a pullback, and some buys following. If the market is going to be bearish, if the DXY is going to be bearish and continue the trend we've seen for the past few months, then we're likely to respect this area and turn down. So when you are looking to trade dollar pairs, always keep an eye what the DXY is doing. Of course, DXY is always a good confluence. You want to make sure that the opportunity you're trading on whatever USD pair you're trading is of good quality. Don't necessarily completely rely on the dollar, because sometimes other currencies can have a big say. CAD, Aussie, Euro, depending what they're doing, you have to watch out. So DXY is always a good metric, always a good confluence, but make sure the opportunity makes sense as well. But yeah, that's what I'm going to keep an eye for dollar CAD, really what we do at this area. In terms of Aussie dollar, keeping an eye on this one, not the biggest fan. I just see this as a very choppy market that's just been slowly grinding and ascending higher. I'm waiting for us to break out of this mess, really. I do anticipate us to break lower here, but we're taking our sweet time. I did say I was looking for shorts up at the high of the channel. Price never got there. We're looking pretty bullish. I think that was not last week, the week before. I was kind of hoping for us to continue a little bit higher, test the upper end of the channel, then have the drop. But nope, price was not bullish enough to see that. It just came back into resistance and fell over. I mean, it hasn't yet broke through the channel, so maybe there is still a world where we do something like that. But I've got a feeling that price might just kind of consolidate a little bit and then eventually fall. I'm pretty bearish in Aussie dollar. Long term, however, I'm actually pretty bullish. I do think we will fall just to put a higher low in and continue high. That's still very much my longer term outlook for Aussie dollar, but that could be a few weeks to potentially a few months into the future. So we're not going to speak too much upon that. As that progresses, we can get into a bit more detail as to why I expect that to happen. But for now, at least, very corrective ascending channel, not showing much healthy momentum to the upside. Will likely probably to spill over here to the downside. And at least I expect price to push back to this area, which is 0.635. So yeah, pretty bearish in Aussie. In terms of actually trading, that's the difficult part. I don't really see anywhere to get some smart entries. Yeah, that's really difficult, which is why I've been waiting for price to push to the up end of the channel, because I can look for rejection up there, get a relatively safe stop loss above the highs, and then hopefully take advantage of that swing down. Trying to enter shorts in this area. You got the low of the trend line, you got support right next to you. It's just a recipe for a little bit of a chaos. And you can see we've had multiple fake outs as well, arguably over there as well. So it's just not really the best market to short in these conditions. So personally, unless we do get a big move back to the upper end, I would stay away. New Zealand dollar, kind of same situation as well. We've got a ascending channel here as well. Connect the highs and the lows up. You can see price has been chugging away to the upside for a while as well. Maybe not as aggressively as Aussie dollar, but same sort of price action, and I expect the same sort of pattern to form as well. The big push down, higher low, and then a reversal. But for now, I do expect us to eventually break to the downside again. When price is ascending like this, I'm always getting ready for a breakdown. That's the pattern at play. Again, as a technical trader, all you're looking at is historical patterns repeating themselves. Nothing more to it than that. When price is typically in an ascending channel, most of the time we do break lower. So I'm expecting price to break low. We might see another swing to the upside. That could happen. And I think if that does happen, that might provide some nice shorting opportunities to take it back down again. I'm not so interested in the buys because, again, I do have that bearish bias. I'm only looking to sell it. There might be a bounce here, but I'd rather just stick with the shorts because that's where I expect the bigger move to be. There might be something if we break out and a retest somewhere. Maybe if you drop to the 4 hour, see a little bit better. Probably not. But maybe if we can clear support and something like this could come around, that could be something interesting. It really depends on the breakout and the pullback if it actually does turn into a quality opportunity, but we're a long way away from that as well. So there might be some short-term buys, especially scalps. If you're looking for a quick trade to hold for a few candles and then get out quickly, you might find that there. We did see that last week. Price came in, respected it pretty well. A few wicks to the downside, and we did see a few candles to the upside. So if you're looking for those kind of quick moves there, one-to-one risk-reward ratios, you can get away with that because we are coming back to some healthy areas, provided there's some healthy rejection. But I just wouldn't look for a big swing trade. That's the only advice I would give from this area, because I do expect us to soon enough break lower. So again, not much of a shorting opportunity unless we push back to highs there for New Zealand dollar. In terms of gold, I'm still very bullish on gold, looking for this to eventually break to the upside, but we're taking our sweet time with this one as well. And we're very, very flat here. So I haven't been a big fan of the lower time frames for gold. I've spoken about a couple levels which I do like the look of for a buy. This being one of them, 32.60 we can call it, and also 31.40. Both areas I quite like the look of it because we're away from the noise. That's a big reason why I like those two levels. This is where I see all the noise at. So really, I don't want to get involved in those areas because it's very speculative, very indecisive price action, and don't really have suitable areas to put a good stop loss. If I can get a stop loss underneath here or underneath here, I'm just in a much better place. Not that it's a perfect place and I won't get stopped out. I could always get stopped out wherever I put my stop loss, but at least here the market has to work a lot harder to take my stop if it wants to. And if it does, it's always a smart place to get back in there and put your stop loss below the fake out or below the wick. And you'll be more protected there. So I like these areas to get long. It's effectively a ranging market, so I always want to buy low and sell high anyway. And those two levels make sense. And of course, taking into consideration the humongous uptrend gold is still in, I'm obviously still wanting to be a buyer. So if I can just find appropriate places to buy, it makes so much sense. And then targets, back to highs. You got a lot of resistance there. I would expect price to eventually break out. But if you can at least get a trade into that level, you're looking pretty good. So that's still very much the plan with gold. And lastly, silver, still very bullish with this one. Might have missed the opportunity. There was a nice lower time frame pullback there, perhaps like on the 50-minute chart, which looks like price is seeing the continuation of. I was talking a lot about this level at 37.2 last week. Unfortunately, just kind of missed that opportunity. I still like the buys for silver, so if price was to revert, come back and test that area, I think that still be a smart place for a buy. So I'm still very much going to keep a close eye on that level. But targets for silver, push back to the high and a push back to 40 as well. So I'm expecting a lot more upside for silver in the next few days, few weeks here. It's just about finding those pullbacks really and riding the momentum to the upside. So very, very bullish on silver. Just hoping to see if we can get a pullback to retest the high and some buys following that. So that's kind of really where I'm at with the USD. Still looking for strength on the USD. Still very bullish on gold and silver. USD majors, not quite there yet, but I'm looking for strength from the dollar and opportunities favoring that as well. I think pound probably looks the best one, but even that's not quite ready yet. So have to stay patient for now. Anywho, new week, new mentality, of course. Forex Guru, that's a good attitude to have. Pound Aussie, yep, we'll take a look at that, no problem. What's up? What's up? Let's see. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Yes, press the like button if you are enjoying the stream, finding it useful. Please be sure to hit the like button. I appreciate that, Forex Guru. Good morning. Knox will take a look. Yeah, Pound Aussie will take a look as well. Tashi, good morning. Hope you're doing good. Hope everyone had a good weekend. I'll go through Pound Aussie, then I'll go through my watch list and the pairs I'm keeping a close eye on. So Pound Aussie is a pair which I'm pretty bearish on. I'm expecting a lot more downside. Well, I was going to say I'm expecting a lot more downside this week, but it doesn't necessarily have to be this week. I expect more downside in the long term with Pound Aussie. I do think price is hitting some areas where I do think we're running out of steam, and perhaps the bigger move is going to be to the downside. Yes, we've had a pretty nice uptrend, but you can see where we're trading this in the monthly chart. Your price came back into the wick high over here. Massive piercing wick to the upside. Momentum's kind of stalled. I do think we can see a bit of a retracement. I'm personally looking for us to come back into this area. Some hefty resistance. More so on the weekly, you can see it a little bit better there. Massive resistance, kind of where we broke out from not too long ago. I do think we can come back and retest that area. So personally, I do see a bit of a drop there for Pound Aussie. Push back into 1.98. You can probably call it 2. That's a big psychological level there. But I do expect us to see it go through a bit of a drop. At the moment, the market is kind of just consolidating. If I drop back to the daily chart, you can see we've got equal lows down here. You can see most likely, not most likely, what was I going to say? Don't even know, to be fair. Most likely just not the right word. We've got equal lows down here, but we've got equal highs up there. So we'll leave it at that. Price right now is ranging, and I do expect us to break lower and come back to this area to 1.99. Those are the prices I'm expecting price to push towards. So I'm pretty bearish on pound Aussie. So the two ways I look to trade that, it's either price has a move back into resistance and we can short the high and anticipate a swing back to the low of the range and hopefully a breakout, or price does break out and then we can look for the retest of the low of the range and then short. Either which way, I'm looking to see if I can capitalize on that big move from a higher time frame perspective. We've looked at the monthly chart, you can see momentum starting to die, massive wick to the upside. We're seeing dojis at that area as well. We go to the monthly chart, well, not really dojis, but at least small body candles. So you got that big wick there, which was April. Then May, small bullish candle there, showing that momentum is still dropping and still very low. Then you had last month, June, again, small bearish candle there, showing again, momentum is dying. Of course, July is still trading right now, but we are coming to an end. Well, still got about a third left, so still a lot of movement can happen in that time. But again, momentum's kind of dying out and the market is failing at this area. And it's not just any area. It's a very, very pivotal point, which was the highs from COVID back in 2020, which did start this massive down move. So it's a very significant area. And we're not looking for anything too crazy for pound Aussie, like a move like this. We're just looking for retracement. Even if the market still wants to push to the upside, that could still very be the case. But a retracement like that, to me, given the rejection we're seeing, is looking pretty likely. So I like the shorts for pound Aussie. I do think that's the likely move. At the moment, we've just got consolidation on our hands, so just keeping it very simple. See if price breaks the consolidation, breaks to the downside. We can use that that support as resistance and then look to sell. Or price maybe makes its way back to resistance and we can short off the back of that. But what I would stay away from is trading within the range, trying to find opportunities in this area, because this is all just messy behavior, and you're going to get caught, back and forth, have some, you can easily give money back unnecessarily. So I'll just wait for the two obvious opportunities, the breaking test of the low or the retest of the high. That's going to be the smarter trades to take. But yeah, I do expect a bit of a break to the downside for pound Aussie in the next few weeks, let's say. Excuse me. Hopefully that made sense. BTC, we will take a look at Bitcoin, no problem, Veli. Danny, yes, we can take a look at NAS as well. Eugene, US 30, yes, we'll take a look, no problem. Jordan, New Zealand CAD, absolutely, we can take a look at that. That's actually a pair which I'm keeping a very, very close eye on. I quite like the opportunities, especially. There's some key technical aspects on the higher time frames. Looks like that could be getting ready for a big move to the downside, so I'll go into a bit of detail on that one. Jay Huntley, what's up, my man? Hope you're well. Do you believe the markets are really quiet today? I mean, the day's just started, so you gotta give the day a chance, because it's not even the US session yet. London has been particularly quiet, I would say. Not a lot has happened. I mean, Monday is not always the biggest moving day, to be honest. Sometimes Monday is kind of just setting the tone a little bit. Monday, Tuesday, more fact, and then Wednesday, Thursday are some of the bigger moving days. So yeah, I could agree with that. We are slightly more quiet. I'm just looking at the USD pairs now. There's a bit of movement there on pound. I mean, nothing too crazy. Dollar CAD has been very, very corrective, so nothing's really happened there. Aussie dollar's pretty flat, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that hasn't done much movement. So yeah, you could say we are quiet, but we still got the US session to come, which can cause a bit more movement, and it is still Monday as well. So you don't want to get too caught up in that, because we might have a quiet Monday, maybe a quiet Tuesday as well. Maybe Wednesday, Thursday we pick up, and that's where we see the bulk of the move for the week. So you kind of want to get ready for that when it does happen. I'm not saying Wednesday, Thursday is guaranteed, especially this week, to be the big moving days. Could be any day really. Could still be Monday if the US session has a blast. So yeah, so far it's been quiet, but that can change quickly. And it is just the start of the week, so hopefully we do pick up later in the week. But yeah, I would agree. Okay, let's go take a look at BTC. So yeah, Bitcoin looking very bullish. Lovely price action with this one. Humongous bullish candle a couple of weeks back. Last week, it looks like we're pausing. Bit of a wick to the upside, small bearish there. If I drop to the daily chart, kind of looks like we are consolidating here as well. So it's a bit of an interesting one for BTC. Is price just moving sideways, getting ready for a big move higher, or is this price potentially forming a bit of a top? Now, I'm not seeing any signs that this is a top. I did suggest on the weekly analysis that this could be a smart place for a buy. I still think it is. And if that area doesn't work out, I still like the retest of the high here. There's still a lot of momentum in the market. There's no kind of overwhelming rejection we're seeing or signs of very strong bearish momentum coming into the market. We did have a bit of selling pressure here, but for the most part, it is quite flat. So I think the buyers are still very much in control. So either we might form a double bottom off the back of this, or we might see a slightly bigger retracement to test that area. Those are the two areas which I like the buys from. If we were to break both, then yeah, I probably would look at not necessarily a reversal, but we might go through a bit of a counter trend move there for BTC. So yeah, for now, still pretty bullish. Of course, you got the highs there. What's 123k roughly. That still looks like a worthy target for a trade, especially if you're looking for more of a swing idea. But those are two areas which I like the look of. BTC still bullish to me. No signs of reversal. So I would still be very much of a buyer. Yes, we are kind of moving sideways, so do take that into consideration in terms of managing the trade. Let's say if you do catch a buy from here and price comes back into resistance, that could be a smart place to lock in some gains or at least remove risk from the table. Yes, I'm expecting price to get there, but who knows? Maybe we do consolidate for a few more days before eventually the move happens, and potentially price might rally for you and come back and stop you out at break even. So maybe locking some gains in at the highs here does make sense. But in terms of the bigger move, the bigger direction, everything still looks really bullish, really bullish to me. So, excuse me, still expecting a lot more upside for pound, BTC for the moment. We'll take a look at NAS and then we'll go through US 30 and New Zealand CADs. So for NAS 100, everything is still looking very bullish at the moment. Again, we do expect to see a pullback at some stage. The market's not going to keep flying forever. No market does, even BTC. So we are expecting us to go through a bit of a sell-off. But the trick is, or the thing is, when is that sell-off going to happen? It could be today. It could be this time next week. It could be this time next month, potentially. So we're not too sure about that. As I've been saying, if you're looking to trade NAS, looking to trade S&P, I think the best thing to do is keep it short and sweet and look for pullbacks on the lower time frames and just keep buying the lows until proven otherwise, really. Those are the smart trades. Finding these pullbacks on the lower time frames are the smart trades. I quite like the look of this area. Prior resistance going through the market lines up pretty well with this kind of area of demand here. Nice break to the upside. If we can see a pullback into that area, I think it's a smart place for a buy and a likely place for another higher low to fall. I do think we're going to go through a bit of a sell-off soon, so keep that in mind. So I wouldn't try and buy here and try and hold on for a massive move because I would expect us to retrace soon. But if I can take a buy here and just trade it back to highs, nothing too crazy, I think that would be a smart trade. You're taking advantage of what the market is doing right now, which is a pretty strong uptrend. So yeah, if you're looking for a bigger swing for NAS, there's some areas below us which we could look to retest and find some nice buys from. But when we do get that pullback, we have no idea. There's been many times where I've been looking for a pullback for especially the indices, and we just keep trending for like 2-3 weeks, and there's multiple buy opportunities on the lower time frames, but because you have the mentality that you're expecting a pullback, you miss out on those buy opportunities. And eventually it does happen, but there might have been 2, 3, 4, 5 opportunities where you could have made some nice profits along the way and still be able to take advantage of the pullback when it does come through. So at the moment, still looking for more upside for NAS. Yes, I'm expecting a bigger pullback, but we've got to trade what's in front of us, and it's still very much a bullish market. And we do have a nice level there to look for a buy. So still expecting more upside there for NAS. US 30, still very bullish for this one as well. I quite like US 30 because it's a major US index which hasn't made new all-time highs yet. You've got the S&P made new all-time highs like 2 or 3 weeks ago now. NAS, same situation, 2-3 weeks ago, we made new all-time highs. US 30 hasn't done that yet, and it's most likely still going to do that. All kind of 3 of those indices kind of do the same thing. So I do expect US 30 to catch up, make new all-time highs. And because of that, it's a really good opportunity because you're expecting something to happen and it hasn't happened yet. Therefore, you're taking advantage of that situation. And based on the market price action, based on what I'm seeing here, it still looks like a very likely move. What I'm seeing here for US 30 is a really big up move, a very strong impulsive move there. I'm looking at a big flag pattern really, and I'm expecting price to eventually break that to the upside. So very bullish here for US 30. I did suggest last week that there could be some nice buys in the double bottom if price could return back to support and find some entries off the back of that and then take a swing to the upside. I still think that would be a very nice opportunity for US 30, especially getting some nice stops as well, because you'll be getting some nice entries, a nice stop below the lows, so your stop will be in a relatively safe place. And then of course targets back to the high, or at least one of these highs you could look to target, depending on your risk reward and what you're looking for. But US 30, I do expect new highs soon, so I'm very bullish on this one, expecting a lot more upside. I did say also keep an eye on the breakout of this as well, because maybe price doesn't have that bigger pullback, and the only way to trade US 30 might be waiting for a break of this counter trend line. So maybe a strong close and buying on the breakout, and waiting for a breakout and maybe a smaller time frame pullback and retest. That might be the opportunity to keep an eye on. Either which way, you're looking for the breakout of that trend line if we don't get the bigger pullback into this area. But the direction remains the same. And expecting new all-time highs pretty soon, maybe even this week. So keep an eye on that for US 30. Okay, we'll take a look at New Zealand CAD next. No problem, Veli. Happy to help. Similar, found success trading currencies alone. These trade using fundamentals, comparing that economic data gives you strong bias. Yeah, that's one way to develop a bias. Of course, finding the stronger currency against the weaker currency, and of course looking to play off that. So that's definitely one way of creating a bias. The most important thing is consistency and having a good, consistent approach to the market. Because of course there will be times, where you do give back gains to the market, as every trader who ever lived, will go through losing spells and giving back profits to the market. But that's part of the game, and the biggest part of the game is the consistency with the approach. Attacking the same edge. So if you can find strong currencies, partner up with weak currencies, and take advantage of that difference, that's an edge in itself as well. Kudos to you, Simbonello. Let's take a look at New Zealand CAD. So New Zealand CAD is a pair on my watch list and probably one of my favorite pairs at the moment. It's not quite set up yet for an entry, but I think there's a pretty big move to be had for New Zealand CAD to the downside, and I quite like what I'm seeing on the higher time frames, particularly the monthly chart. Actually, not the monthly chart. Is it 3 weekly chart, I think? Yeah, 3 weekly chart is giving us a lot of rejection at some very key support. So this support has been in action for quite some time here for New Zealand CAD, dating back to 2015. So it's a very, very significant level. And that's the beauty of high time frames, is that you can look back over across multiple years and see where a lot of orders, where a lot of market participants have been paying a lot of attention, especially the bigger players in the market. Of course, us retail traders don't have much of a say, but the bigger institutions, what they're doing, where they're placing their orders, and looking at the higher time frames kind of gives you a little bit of a clue to that. And you can see this is a very vital level here for New Zealand CAD, going back to 2015. A lot of rejection here. And as we've seen over the past few weeks here, multiple rejections into this area. So to me, it looks like price is slowly getting ready for a big sell-off here. And I'm looking for a push back into support here and potentially support there over the next few weeks. That could take some time. But if I can take small piece of the pie on the way down, I'm happy. So New Zealand CAD shorts are something I'm keeping a very close eye on. Really nice rejection on the 3 weekly chart. A lot of wicks into that area. It's going to be very unlikely for us to suddenly now break to the upside. You know, the probability is with the bears with this one. So I'm looking for a big drop for New Zealand CAD. Now it just comes to how we're going to trade this, how we're going to find some entries. I can get rid of this level because we know it's there. We don't necessarily need it in the market right now. We know there's a big level of resistance on the higher time frames. But what I see right now with New Zealand CAD is just a market that is moving sideways, a market which is consolidating. But from a higher time frame bias, we expect price to break lower. So how are we going to look to trade this? Well, we kind of went through this a little bit with Pound Aussie. Either price has another move back into resistance and we find some shorts at the high there, or price does break to the downside and we find some shorts on the retest and take advantage of some selling opportunities off the back of that. So it really depends what price wants to do. Do we see another move back to resistance? Great, take some shorts there. That would probably be the better opportunity because you're entering higher up. And if you're successful to capitalize on a swing to the low end of the range, not only can you book profits there, but you can probably leave some profits to run for potentially the breakout if you can see some signs of that happening. This opportunity looks good as well. Not as good just because your entry is not as good. You want your entry to be as high as possible or as low as possible. So that by default would obviously be the better trade. But this still could provide some nice opportunities on a clean break and retest. So New Zealand CAD I'm pretty bearish on. At the moment, we are kind of still trading at support right now. So you can see support running through the market. There's been a couple fake outs. One over there, second over there. So perhaps there is some upside in store for New Zealand CAD, but I'm not really interested in buying the market because of my high time frame bias and the fact that I do expect price to eventually start bleeding pretty soon. So there might be some buys to take advantage of short term, which makes sense. We're still at support right now, but I do think New Zealand CAD is likely to fall. So like I said, the breaking retest is really what I'm waiting for, or the retest of resistance there, 0.83. It's going to be patient for that, and hopefully we can see a push into either of those areas. So I'm going to keep a very close eye on New Zealand CAD. It may not even set up this week, to be honest. We might kind of just move sideways. We might bounce at support and start pushing up. But it's a pair which I'm going to keep a close eye on for the next few months, really, because like I said, I do think there could be a big sell, maybe even back to the lows here, and that's not going to happen in a week. So it could be a really big move that happens. There could be multiple shorting opportunities along the way. So it's something where there's no need to rush into, wait for the opportunity. At some point, an opportunity will arise, most likely, and we're there to take it. And even if an opportunity doesn't arise, there's other markets, there are other opportunities. So, you know, the worst thing to do is force something. But yeah, that's really what I'm waiting for New Zealand CAD, and I'm going to stay patient for that opportunity. But at the moment, could be some buys, but not really interested. Trev, what's up? Euro Yen Shaw. Another pair which is on my watch list as well. But just hasn't really been providing much opportunity for a pullback. So I've been on the sidelines. It does look like we're running out of steam and a pullback is on the way, to be honest. So I just got to stay patient and play the long game, really. But the plan is pretty simple. Looking for a push back to the high there on Euro Yen, which is 175. So that's the expectation. Of course, we've smashed through highs here. And the plan has just basically been, okay, lovely breakout. Let's find a pullback to keep buying it back into resistance. And as we zoom out, look at the higher time frames, that's very much the play. It looks like this trend is just basically continuing. We're in a bit of a consolidation for a while. I was expecting price to break lower. We didn't see that happen. We respected support. We've clearly broken to the upside now. So at this point, we're quite likely to push back into resistance here. So if we can see some downside, that would be great because we already have the expectation that price is likely to push back into the high here. So if we do see some downside, that just provides a good opportunity to buy. You can find some better prices to get long and hopefully take advantage of that continuation. So very, very simple stuff here with EUREM. When you zoom out, look at the bigger picture and what price is doing. Just looking for a breather to keep buying. So if we take that information into the lower time frames, like the 4-hour chart, you can see the market trend has been looking pretty good, but it's starting to tire. This is well, not the first time, but we're now starting to respect highs now. We're now starting to get back into resistance and fail to break the high. I think if we can break through support here, that will be a very strong sign to say that, okay, we've run out of steam. Perhaps it's now time to see a pullback. I still quite like the look of this area here. Nice consolidation, nice breakout there, 169.5. I think that'll be a smart place for a buy. That probably might still be my preferred area, to be honest. I mean, I'll keep an eye. We might develop areas to buy in terms of we might create our own support and then go bullish from then onwards. So it might not be a predetermined area. It might be a new area price creates. There is support here to our left as well. Keep an eye on that. So a couple of areas which I like the look of, but I've got a feeling that price might create its own support just because of how bullish we've been and how aggressively trending we've been as well. But yeah, pullbacks really, and then more buys for EUREM. Very, very bullish in this market. So just looking for opportunities to take some buys. Do you think it will still make new highs or should I sell at the high? Again, the answer to that question we'll know when we get there, really. You can never really predict if price will make new highs or not really. You can, of course, have a guess. But the best thing to do is wait for price to get there and wait for price to react, because that will give you the best, that will give you the most valuable piece of information. What is price actually doing at that level? So I would just say wait to see what price does at that area. It could be a great place for a sell. I say that because last time price was here, we had a massive sell-off. So by default, we saw a lot of selling pressure. So if we do get there again, I would expect sellers to start entering the market again, and possibly there could be some nice shorts. But on the flip side, the trend is still largely quite bullish on the higher time frames. Maybe price wants to smash through that and create some new highs, and then maybe we go for a bit of a sell-off. So it's 50-50 right now. But once price gets there, we can kind of monitor and see what outcome we're leaning towards. If price was to get there, starts to throw some wick, starts to maybe spend a couple of days there, then yeah, shorts look good and it would make sense to sell. If of course we don't get any of that, we're just seeing a lot of strength, then of course I would stay away. We're likely to get the breakout there. The trend is still to the upside on the higher time frames after all. So you get the answer to the question when we're there. As to what I'm leaning towards right now, I'll probably say, yeah, I'll lean towards the selling bias, because I would expect to see at least a reaction. Maybe the bigger move is still to the upside, but there might still be worthwhile shorts. But yeah, we'll know the answer when price gets there. And again, a big part of trading is just being able to react. It's not necessarily about predicting. It's about reacting to what the market is giving you, reacting to the situation. You might have been looking to short here, but maybe there is no shorts there to take. There is no adequate entry, and therefore you're going to react and not take the trade. If you still take the trade regardless, that's where you're going to take a lot of unnecessary losses. I might have missed the bag and missed buying at the bottom. Could have quit my job. Don't worry, there's always another big move in the market, Trev. There's always another big move in the market. Some effects, Euro Aussie, okay, we'll take a look, no problem. Danny, no problem, happy to help. Got to get back to work, okay, no problem, but I'll watch a bit later. Have a great day, people. Appreciate it, Danny. Have a good one. Hopefully see you in the next stream or whenever. But have a good one. Appreciate coming on. Euro Aussie, okay, we'll take a look at that one next. If you guys are enjoying the stream, by the way, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out, and I do really appreciate it. It does help the channel grow. And if you're liking the content, subscribe, hit the bell so you don't miss out on any uploads or streams in the future. But as for Euro Aussie, it's an interesting pair. I'm still looking for a big down move and pretty bearish on its cousin, Pound Aussie. Very similar pairs. And I'm looking for a big move to the downside for Pound Aussie as well. And in my opinion, Pound Aussie looks a slightly better opportunity. But I'm still pretty bearish here on Euro Aussie. We had a bit of a sell last week. It hasn't really amounted to much. I was talking about shorts from this range here. And we did see a bounce from that area. So price did get there. I respected it pretty well. Nice move down, but hasn't really set the market alight. It looks like we're still respecting this kind of trend line here. We're going to see probably another retest of that area. So I'll still keep an eye on the shorts, because if we can reject it well again, I would expect at least another push back into the trend line, especially if you can drop to like an hourly or even like a 30 or 50-minute chart. That could still be a nice swing for a day or two. And you can walk away with a nice 1-1, 1-2, maybe even a 1-3, depending on your entry there. So it's still a worthwhile trade there, but you're keeping it short and sweet. In terms of really selling, in terms of really looking for the bigger move, then I think we're kind of waiting for the break of this counter trend line. If the market is ready to fall, if this is a big bearish move and this is the pullback of that move, then we're kind of waiting for that counter trend line break. The break of that counter trend line would tell us that, okay, the bears are stepping in. Most likely going to see a push to this low and probably continue from then onwards. So I'm still pretty bearish with Euro Aussie. As long as we don't break through this area, the shorts look good. If we do, we're probably going to smash into the highs there and probably create some new highs after that point. So this is really where the seller's bias comes into play. It looks at this point in time that we're respecting the trend line, probably going to see another swing back into resistance anyway. So see what we can do there, see what type of price action we can get. Do we start firing some wicks like we did previously? Do we see momentum shifts? Great. Then we can take some shorts off the back of that. And then, yeah, a push to the low of the trend line. And then we'll see what we get next. Perhaps a breakout. Well, that means we've probably got more downside in store. Or if price does start finding support, maybe it's a sign to maybe start closing positions and maybe being a bit careful with that position. But I am pretty bearish. It's been a very corrective grind higher. And when price is kind of moving like this, I do expect us to eventually push down. I'm pretty bearish here on Euro Aussie, but we have to be patient. The market is still grinding higher. Maybe it's got another swing left to give us, so we have to give that respect. But I do think the bigger move will be to the downside. The market's been very bullish recently, very expansive move here, but I do think a bigger pullback is still on the cards. There's a really big level below us here. I would expect to see a retest of that area before maybe we do continue higher. But for now, we'll see what price does at 1.79 really. That's going to be the key to the buyers, key if we're going to expect price selling off or maybe a swing back to resistance there. Same situation with Euro NZD as well. Kind of like looking at them both together. I think for now, Euro NZD is still pretty bullish as well. This one's still grinding higher. Again, momentum looks very lackluster, very tiresome. So I do expect us to eventually push down. We may even double top there before we do push down as well. Again, at the moment, the market is pretty bullish. So you got to be able to react to what the market's giving you. Yes, I've had a pretty bearish bias with Euro NZD, but as of yet, we're still just grinding higher. So it'd be very foolish of me just to start opening shorts, just trying to catch the high, catch the drop on that. Because I do have a bearish bias, but I'm not really seeing the price action align with that just yet. And that will be an easy way to kind of throw profits away to the market. If I kind of had that expectation that the market's going to sell, but I don't wait for the opportunity to really set first. So staying patient there. Again, I like the way we're kind of grinding higher. It shows that to me that this is most likely price getting ready for a drop, whether it's going to be now or at resistance. But when I start to see signs of that drop happening, like us breaking structure, so I move like this, and then a lower high after that, then yeah, I can start falling shorts there and then take it lower. Next big level, which would be a push to 1.883. But as of now, nothing just yet. What's up, Yusuf? Good morning, my man. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to go through some of the yen pairs next because there's a few of them I'm quite interested in if we get some decent pullbacks. I haven't really spoke about the yen pairs yet either. I think I'll go through the yen basket quickly just to share my bias with the yen itself, because that of course does play a big role in terms of what I'm expecting for the yen. Yes, I did have a good weekend. Thank you for asking, Yusuf. Did have a great weekend. Thank you. Hope the same is with you. So in terms of the yen, so we've pushed into resistance here, failed, and now we're starting to push back into support. So we could start to see price slow down. Looking at the weekly chart, momentum still looks pretty bearish to me. Of course, we've shattered support over here to our left. So preferably, I would like to see a pullback into that area for the yen. If you could see a pullback there, I think that'd be a great place for a short. But we're not quite at this support yet on the weekly chart. I think we've still got a little bit more to drop. It would be nice if we can push to the upside first and then drop. That would be a nice move to kind of capitalize on. But at the moment, we're kind of just hovering above that area. But I do think a bit more downside is in store. Daily chart here, kind of still just dropping away. There's some support just above us, resistance above us here, which price can go and retest as well. But yeah, after all, the market does look pretty bearish here. And I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if we kind of just find resistance here and just keep selling off. So the way I see it, the market is really bearish. And even if we do have a meaningful move up, it's probably going to lead to a move down as well, whether it's going to be from that area or from that area there. So yeah, I'm very, very bearish on the yen right now. I think more downside is likely, whether it's going to be from here, there, 6,500 or 6,600. I do expect us to sell off. So looking at a pair like pound yen, which is a pair I'm going to keep a close eye on because I do think this one eventually is likely to break higher. I'm looking for pound yen to eventually get back into resistance up here, which is at 207. At the moment, price is kind of stuck at resistance, but I do expect us to break through. And once we do, that kind of gives us the green light to begin really buying pound yen. And then the targets would be pushed back into resistance at 207. There are some support here, which maybe if the yen does pull back, it would be interesting to see if we can pull back into this area and find some buy opportunities from there to take it back up again. You can see this is the weekly chart, left some nice wicks there to the upside. It would be nice to see if we can get a retest of that before a big buy. But after all, if we do break through resistance here anyway, you know, that would of course be a nice place for a retest there too. So going forward with pound yen, only really looking to buy. We have been pretty consistent with the higher lows here, as we can see. At the moment, looks like the market is just sideways and just kind of consolidating here. Whether we do have a bigger pullback or we just see price give us a nice rocket through resistance. Again, looking for opportunities for a buy. A pullback like so. And then hopefully a nice continuation. And then, yeah, big targets at 207. So pound yen to me, very, very bullish. Yusuf, GJ in the 15. Okay, we're at it right now. Let's take a look at the 15. So as for the 15-minute chart, moving this out of the way. You know, it's there. 15 is quite poor. It's very, very choppy. I do like the low here, though. So if I was looking to get involved with pound yen, I would wait for another stab into this area and then look to take a buy off the back of that. It does line up pretty well with resistance here. And like I said, I am pretty bullish on pound yen, so buys is kind of what I'll stick with. The market is bullish anyway. You do have a pretty nice uptrend, which has been at play for quite a while. So buys is your best bet, looking to follow that trend, follow that momentum. And it does look like pound yen still has more upside in the tank as well. So We do have some really nice resistance here, which we did retest a couple times. Once over there, second time over there. Both time gave us some really nice reactions. And essentially, you do have a ranging market here anyway in the 15. Equal highs, equal lows. So if you're going to find a trade here for pound yen, you want to be either at the highs or at the lows. And because I have a bullish bias, I want to be at the lows, trying to pick some longs there, trade it to the higher end of the range, and maybe if I'm lucky, capitalize on a breakout. Things go very well. But yeah, this is a smart place for a buy at 198. I would keep a close eye on that. At the moment, we're kind of in the middle of everything, so I would stay away. I think this is the worst place to get into any positions. But should we push back into support 198, I think that's a very smart place for a buy. Even if it's just a reaction for half the way up, I think that's a very smart place for a buy. Dollar yen on the 15. Okay, we'll take a look. Jay Huntley 15 as well. Dollar yen for a long. Okay, let's have a look. I'm going to start on the higher time frame just to get a good gauge of the market before I do drop to the 15. So, yeah, I do expect to see a bit more upside for dollar yen. Kind of still looking for us to approach resistance up there. We did respect support very well here. Of course, momentum's picked up a little bit. Looks like price is starting to break through this kind of area. Had a lot of wicks there. Looks like we're breaking through that. Daily chart, we are starting to take out some highs. We're still kind of trading at resistance, so you have to be a bit careful there. Kind of refine it to that area there. So that's kind of where I'm expecting dollar yen to push towards 151 up here. But we do have resistance there, so I'll be careful of that. There is some support here on the 4-hour chart, which was resistance. But of course, we have broken through that. We did actually use that as support on the breakout there as well. But it would be nice to see price push there again, perhaps form a higher low on a pullback like that, and then continue. So that would be a nice buy. At the moment, it looks like price is struggling to break through resistance there. So I do have a bullish bias for dollar yen, but because price is really struggling at resistance, I would be a bit careful with the buying opportunities. You're looking for a long back to 149. So yeah, I mean, I would expect price to get there. Like I said, I do have higher expectations as well, back to 151. But the buys are a little bit tricky. I probably would wait for a push back into the low here. This is where price pushed into, had a very strong reaction. Lines up pretty well with the previous swing high. I think that would be an appropriate place for a buy. Doesn't even have to be a push all the way to 149, but I think it'd still be a smart place for a buy, at least if you're looking for a reaction. So yeah, I do like the buys on the 15. We are struggling at resistance right now, so this is definitely where the sellers are having some fun. We had a couple attempts trying to break higher, hasn't really happened, and price has now broken to the downside. So I would wait for at least a push into the kind of 147 area before looking to buy. Then yeah, if things go very well, we can see a drive back into 149 and probably beyond that. I think from a higher time frame perspective, I am definitely expecting that for dollar yen. I'm very, very bullish on the pair, at least for now. But yeah, we are in a bit of free fall right now, not really coming to an area of significance. There is a slight area of demand here to our left. We've already reacted a few times with it, hasn't really done anything, so I'm not really going to show much respect to that area. And we've got a more meaningful, more significant level of support below us here. I think that would be the more attractive place to find a buy. So for dollar yen coming up, especially in the 15, yes, I do agree with buys, but I would look for a deeper pullback just before getting involved, just for a smarter place for a buy and a smarter place to put your stop loss. But I do think we can eventually see that bigger move. It's not my favorite dollar yen pair, especially in the 4-hour chart. It is still quite messy, but momentum is quite strong. I'm still looking for DXY strength, so I'm still looking for the dollar to be strong. And I'm still looking for yen weakness as well. So potentially you've got a strong currency there against a weak currency, which is Simbanello. talked about previously. Yeah, it's always a good combination. No problem, Jay Huntley. Happy to help. So yeah, that's kind of my verdict there with dollar yen. Some other yen pairs I'm keeping a close eye on is Aussie yen. I like this pair to the upside, but it is pivotal. I'd start getting some pullbacks for this pair. Again, it looks like to me that price has had a really big sell-off with this bearish candle, and it's kind of turning to be a bit like an anticlimactic sell in terms of we've got a bit of a bearish trend. Market goes for a really big turn to the downside just to really kind of trap the rest of the sellers, and then eventually the market kind of uses that to advantage to reverse. We talked, excuse me, that sneeze was coming on for a while. I was kind of waiting for it to come. We talked a lot about this pattern last week, or was it the week before? But we spoke a lot about it, and it's a very powerful pattern. And there's another example here on the weekly chart here for the 4 hour not 4 hour time frame for Aussie yen. Weekly chart on Aussie yen, really nice sell. And as you can see, momentum has shifted since then. So basically what I'm now looking for Aussie yen is a pullback into this area. The reason why I've zoomed out to the weekly chart is that you can see it a little bit easier in terms of the wicks, in terms of resistance. And if we can get a pullback, sneeze normally comes in twos, don't they? But if you can get a pullback into that area, I think that'll be a smart place for a buy. If I drop to like the 4 hour chart, you won't be able to see the resistance as easily. It's a bit more messy, but you can see roughly highs have been rejected there pretty well. But the weekly chart kind of encompasses it a little bit better, shows the wicks, and shows how we've had a very strong candle as of late, closing above all of that. And now this area is going to be turned into support. So what I want to see now with Aussie yen going forward is a pullback into this area and a continuation. There's some resistance above us, which I think we've got a good chance of coming back to retest at 98. And if you can get a pullback into this area, I think that'll be a smart place for a buy, next higher low, and then on your way back to the next major level of resistance. And the reason why I like the buys quite a lot as well is, again, with that big sell, kind of shows us that the sellers are done and dusted. They're out of momentum. You know, if the sellers were going to continue to take price lower, I would have expected the price to pull back from that and continue. The fact that we have no signs of continuation after that big sell, it's kind of like the sellers are done. Now the buyers can have their time in the sun. So yeah, looking for some pullbacks into this area, which is 95.5 to 94. Really, it's a big zone, but really anywhere in there I can find some opportunities, I'll be happy. There's also a trend line confluence running through the market here as well. So really, if you can line up with that trend line, that would be nice. Can even refine the level, to be honest, to focus a bit more on the daily highs here. So you got resistance there at 95.4. Can refine the level even further to that area alone, which actually does quite line up pretty well with the trend line. But of course, it's a big zone still on the weekly chart, so you could still see price maybe break below slightly, come back above and retest it, and the market would still be respecting that level. So you need to keep an eye on that. But going forward with Aussie yen, very, very bullish on. I think there's a lot more upside. Already seeing signs that we're starting to run out momentum. See wicks there to the upside. If I drop to the 4 hour chart, we've got potentially a lower high there now. So you got the wicks. Oh, didn't mean to do that. So you got the wicks on the higher time frames on the daily chart showing momentum is slowing. You've got a lower high in the 4 hour chart. Hopefully we can see something like this happen. Pick up some longs here, and then Bob's your uncle. You got a really nice trade. Swing back into resistance and hopefully back into 98.5, and of course just continuing this uptrend there as well. So Aussie yen is on the watch list for this week, and if Aussie yen is on the watch list, there's always a good chance that New Zealand yen is on the watch list for the exact same reasons, and it is. Although I would say Aussie yen looks a lot better in terms of momentum, in terms of the breakout, but we've also got levels here that New Zealand yen can pull back into, which I think buys look really good. You can see all these wicks there to the upside, strong down move. Now this is going to be turned into support. I'm looking for us to push into that before continuing higher. We've got some lovely resistance here, which I'm expecting price to get to. So you can see it's pretty much the same analysis. We actually almost hit there last week. but not quite. And yeah, looking for a pullback for more buys. But if I compare this to the price action for Aussie yen, you can see it's a little bit cleaner. The level's a little bit tidier. Strong break to the upside with one big candle kind of showing that statement. So the pullbacks just look a lot more cleaner, and you've got a bit more distance to trade there back to that resistance. Looking at New Zealand yen, it's all just a bit more congested. Excuse me. Price is still a bit more congested. It's not as clean with the breakout. Momentum's not quite there. So it's not as good of an opportunity, but it's still worthwhile. I like the retest of the high there. You've got a long-standing trend line connecting these lows. I'm looking for a push into this area here, really, for a buy. And I do see more upside. But yeah, Aussie yen does look a little bit cleaner. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. And I'm also going to keep an eye on CAD yen 2, which I like the look of as well. But I feel like I missed the opportunity on this one. But there might be more of a shorter term trade opportunity for this one. So as you can see, we had a lot of consolidation here. Price has eventually broken that to the upside. We've picked up momentum now. And we're not too far away from resistance. That's where I'm kind of expecting. CAD yen to get to. But I need some pullbacks. And if I can drop to the daily chart, this is kind of where I'm expecting price to pull back into. So if I move this out of the way, we know the range is there. We know we've broken to the upside. You can see you got that big wick there, represented with that candle there. Massive wick to the upside. Now we've just got and broken through that same resistance. So I'm looking for price to push back into this area, respect that support, and hopefully see some buys off that and take advantage of the next higher low in this bullish sequence. So that very much is the plan. Thank you, Yusuf. Allergies kicking in. It looks like it. Might be a bit of hay fever coming to play. Although I'm not too sure because I don't know. Maybe. I mean, my hay fever hasn't really been playing up too much recently. I don't really feel like it's hay fever, but maybe. Cross my fingers. Hopefully not, because hay fever is annoying. But yeah, I'm looking at this opportunity here for CAD yen as well, looking to capitalize on the next higher low, hopefully. And a push back into resistance at 110 is the plan. So you can see for all the yen pairs, price is at the moment quite bullish. But now I'm just looking for a pullback for just a better area to find a buy, a better area to put a stop loss, and hopefully capitalizing on the swing back into 110. Nothing more complicated than that. The only yen pair which I am not really looking to trade, well, actually two. I'm not really looking to trade dollar yen either. It's a bit too flat for me. But Swiss yen, of course, had a very nice trend, lovely break to the upside, a lot of momentum in this one. But the reason why I'm not looking to trade it is because price is absolutely smashed through the all-time highs, and we're looking quite overextended here. So I'm not so interested in continuing to buy Swiss yen purely because we're at all-time highs. If price was deeper down or heading towards all-time highs, I'll happily look to trade that. But especially in FX, when we do create all-time highs, typically there are pretty aggressive pullbacks afterwards. And again, I would expect all the bigger players who have been buying Swiss yen is probably looking to lock in their gains now. And naturally that should, when buy positions are closed, it's equivalent to sell positions being open. So when bigger players are looking to get out of their buy positions for Swiss yen, that naturally will be opening sell positions, and naturally that should give us a bit of a pullback for Swiss yen. So I do expect a pretty hard move down, whereas some of the other pullbacks, some of the other yen pairs and their pullbacks, I'm not expecting as hard of a move down. So I think there'll be cleaner buys there and slightly better buy opportunities as well. But for Swiss yen, the only really big level we have is this one here. So possibly if you can see a pullback into that area, I do think that'll be a nice place for a buy, but I would be patient for that. It's still a long way away from that Might even take a couple of weeks for us to get back down there. But I do expect it to be pretty pacey in terms of the down move. Maybe similar to the vibes of this, maybe not as aggressive, but we can have these kind of flushes to the downside, which are pretty aggressive. I do think Swiss yen's going to go through that pretty soonish. But yeah, not really interested in buying this one. Other yen pairs look a lot better. Thank you, Yusuf. Thank you. Yeah, hopefully not, because I kind of do need my nose and my mouth to speak during the stream. So hopefully just maybe dust or something. But yeah, appreciate it. So yen pairs do have a lot of my focus this week. I'm probably not even sure if I get a trade, to be honest. They've got my focus for the next few weeks, really, not just this week in particular. Because that's the thing with swing trading. You plan for opportunities which you're looking to trade, for the upcoming week, but it might not set up for another 3 weeks. Because let's say if a consolidation happens, that consolidation could last a week in itself, and you might still be waiting for a price to get to a certain level, and maybe you're caught in a bit of a chop. So that can happen. It does take time for pairs to set up, and equally there'll be times where things go very quickly. There'll be times where you see a move that happens in a couple of days where you thought it might take a couple of weeks as well. So it does give with one hand and take with the other. But I'll keep an eye on those opportunities there for the yen pairs. That's kind of where a lot of my focus is at. I'm also keeping a close eye on the DXY, but again, I want to see a bit more momentum there before I do really look to take trades with the dollar. I like what I'm seeing in terms of the technical analysis, in terms of what we're doing. We broke back above this area here, very strong break, and now all of this is going to be turned into support. So I do expect to see a pretty big move to the upside. But we are quite flat. As I drop to the 4-hour chart, you can see we're kind of just not doing much, but we're still respecting support. So that's the key metric I'm keeping an eye on. Yes, we are very flat, but if we're just respecting support, at some point I do expect us to break to the upside here. And if we do, that'll be the green light for me to start looking to really short the USD pairs. So in the case for Euro USD, I want to see a strong break lower, then some pullbacks. For Pound USD, I want to see I'm keeping an eye on the pullback, but if we do see a strong push lower, that would be nice, and then a pullback. That would also be something I'll look into, because at that point, we would have a break of structure. Price would take up the lows here, which is of course the low which gave us the most recent high. So breaking through that would be quite significant. Then a pullback after that would be brilliant. Push back into the high and then some shorts following that, and a push back into this area would be the plan. In terms of dollar CAD, if we do see sustained strength on the dollar, then I'm looking for a break to the upside here. Some pullbacks, retest the high preferably, and then a push back into this area. So we could be looking at some nice reverse opportunities on the dollar CAD. This would be a big double bottom, break of the neckline, so on and so forth. And hopefully some big down moves for the Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar. So a push to the downside like that, and of course a push to the downside like that as well. Well, already got the arrow there. It will kind of make things a little bit awkward for gold and silver, because of course typically they're inversely correlated. So if dollar is going to be strong, maybe that means we have a bigger pullback there for gold, maybe. Likewise for silver, so that actually might be a bit of a blessing in disguise, because I'm still looking to buy both gold and silver, but they're both a little bit too high up for me. Silver I'm looking to buy around 37.3. Gold I'm looking to buy around 32.60, and also 31.40, 31.50. So two areas there. Gold's a bit too high and silver's a bit too high, so I do want to see some downside anyway. So maybe some strength can help out from that point as well. But I'm very, very bullish on gold and silver, and not interested to sell them at all. Thoughts on Euro and G on the 15. Okay, we'll take a look, Yusuf. Okay, so I haven't looked at Euro USD or Pound USD on the 15 yet. Let me clear the drawings. Okay, so do you have this counter trend line which I want to keep an eye on, because price has been respecting that on several occasions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we tested this area many times. It's quite meaningful. So with Euro USD on the 15, we are quite flat, so that's not necessarily a good sign. I would still be pretty bearish. It looks like support here has held pretty well. Of course, minus this move, but this was kind of triggered from news, so it's a little bit erratic, a little bit out of place. But you've got a lot of support here, which kept us moving flat, and of course we broke to the downside from CPI. Then price did come back to retest it. So I still like the shorts here for Euro USD. I would suggest keep an eye on a retest of this area here. If price can rally back into there, I will be looking at some type of double top there to form and a push down. Not only would I be looking for a double top, but I'd also be looking for the retest of this area, and of course the retest of the counter trend line, which price has been respecting very, very well, and looking for price to hold on to that. If price was to break through this area, that would be a pretty strong bullish signal in my opinion. And at that point, we're probably looking at some higher highs and higher lows and some buying opportunities there for Euro. You've got the equal bottom down here. Perhaps this is a higher low. If, of course, we do go and create some new highs, then we can look at the next higher low, and now with the buying opportunity for Euro USD to take it to the upside and a lot further after that as well. So if Euro is going to be bullish, let's break through this area. Let's break through that bearish confluence, see new highs. Then sure, buys make a lot of sense there for Euro USD. We can take it higher. On the flip side, if the market is just going to respect this area as resistance and double top here, then naturally that would make for a really nice healthy place for a short. Pretty safe place for a stop loss. And you've got some targets to work at, push it back into that low. You've got this kind of consolidation to keep an eye on. And of course you've got the equal lows there as well. And even lower prices, because I do expect us to really sell off if we end up doing that. So yeah, I'm pretty bearish for Euro USD, continuous lower highs. The market is quite flat, but we can use that to our advantage. Basically sell high, buy low. And if the market is going to reverse, we'll wait to see if we can break through this area of confluence at 1.166. And if you do break through that successfully, that of course would be a strong bullish signal to look for some pullbacks and some buys. But for now, the interest is really what we're going to do at that resistance level. So that's really what I'm looking at for Euro on the 15. As for Pound on the 15, again, let me just remove the drawing so we can look at refresh. So with Pound USD on the 15, of course we are testing support here. So shorts don't look that good with Pound on the 15 because of where we're trading at really. I'm just as bearish on Pound as I am with Euro. But the thing with Pound USD is that price is having some trouble at this area of demand. You can see when price was here, massive rally to the upside. A lot of momentum came from there. And now we're kind of in that same conundrum. We're having some momentum from there as well. So although Pound can very much still continue lower, it's still coming into meaningful resistance. Still not a bad place to short, to be honest, but I would keep it short and sweet with Pound because we're basically, we're trading some really big areas of support. Like buys can very much push us to the upside, and we're seeing signs of that happening at the moment. Lows there, lows here, lows here. Price having a really tough time trying to break lower. So I'd refrain from any big sells. If you're looking for a sell for like a scalp, you can get away with that. A bigger swing, not really well positioned for it. I still quite like the bigger pullback as a prospect. If we can pull back into some areas up here, I think that could be a nice opportunity for a sell, or even just waiting for price to get there and looking for some sells later on the way, perhaps a retest somewhere and taking a short off the back of that. You can see this opportunity is a much better opportunity than shorting here, because number one, we're coming from a very strong level of support, and number two, this move here, you've already seen a prolonged up move. The price has already had a substantial pullback. It's now healthy again. Now we've retested an area where more sellers could be looking to jump into the market and take price lower. Now you've seen some more bearish structure come, especially newly formed bearish structure. So everything's still relatively fresh, and you still got meat in the move. You still got, you know, distance in the move, not after the market's already had such a big sell. You know, from the 1st of July, we've been falling basically. So the market is quite tired already, testing some big areas of support, failing to break through big areas of support as well. It's looking quite tired. So naturally, I would like to see a pullback anyway there for pound. Then once I can see some bearish structure forming again, I can jump into some shorts a lot more confidently and take opportunities off the back of that. And that's where a lot of trading comes into play, really, because again, you're not going to learn something, well, depends where you are in your journey, but most likely you're not going to learn like a new pattern or some new methodology that will kind of change the game for trading for you and you just hit winners all the time. A lot of trading is about learning basic things and performing them very, very well, you know, kind of creating your own edge within an edge sort of thing, and applying your analysis, applying your patterns, applying your knowledge, your technical your technical information in a very kind of smart and sensible way, because anyone can trade break and retest, anyone can trade breakouts, anyone can follow a trend or take reversals or buy support or sell resistance. All those things, not going to take you years and years to learn, but it might take you years and years to refine to a very high degree, as you see with any performance-based activity. For example, tennis. All you're doing is you're hitting a ball with a racket to the other side of the court. Basic fundamentally, but to get to a very high level at tennis, you're doing all the basic things very, very well to a high degree. And you're very refined, you're very smart with your decisions, and very smart in terms of where you're placing the ball and how you're hitting the ball. And that's really what trading is as well. You're doing basic things, buying from support, selling from resistance. People have different names for the same things, really, or look at things in a slightly different light, but you're essentially selling from resistance, really, or buying from support. So you're doing the same things, but how you do it and where you do it is going to make or break really, and really excel your journey. So which is why it's such an important thing to journal and look back at your trades, because you could be doing making the same mistake 20 times before you do recognize it, but if you journal your trades, you can probably notice it a lot quicker. And yeah, that's the same situation here with pound USD. All we're looking for is a pullback, price to shift, and then short. But instead of kind of jumping in straight away in these kind of areas where it's not really optimal. Price, number one's already had a big move. It's quite stretched anyway. Number two, we're coming back into some big areas of demand. We're respecting those areas. The market is quite fatigued right now. So instead of shorting here, which again, not to say price can't break lower. That's the thing with trading as well. Sometimes bad trades do work out. Sometimes the unexpected move does happen. But just because it does happen doesn't mean you should do it next time. Because again, sometimes really good trades fail as well. Doesn't mean you shouldn't take those really good trades either. So the plan is to wait for the better opportunities to form, wait for the market to have that breather, to go find some more sellers. Hopefully some more momentum can kick back in. And then when we get this newly found structure, shorts look a lot better. We can trade it back to these lows, maybe even a breakout as well if you really want to push the trade. So yeah, keep an eye on that for pound USD. I think Euro looks the better one. Just because that hasn't necessarily traded into some big areas of support right now. It's a little bit stretched, but not as stretched as pound, and the pullback is a little bit healthier, and we've got some more confidence to work with as well. So I like what I'm seeing with Euro. But again, I'll keep it short and sweet, not necessarily look for a big move. There's still some support on the daily chart, which price at the moment is trading into. So you can see resistance there. This is turned support. You have to be a bit careful there because yes, we might see another drop there for euro into support, but maybe price does rally again. So be careful with looking for the bigger move. But if you are trading the 15, you probably will exit at that area anyway. But yeah, euro on the 15 shorts look good. Pound on the 15 shorts look good as well. I'm still looking for a bigger move. Of course, I normally trade in the 4-hour chart, so I'm looking for those slightly bigger swing opportunities, and that's really where my focus is right now for euro. It's a little bit out of sync with the DXY at the moment. DXY right now is actually trading above support, so it's actually broken above a pretty significant area and it's trading above support. So I quite like the buys here in the DXY, and of course we broke out the channel there as well. Euro USD broke out the channel, but we didn't break through support this time. You can see we've got a similar level over here, which price is actually testing as support right now. You can see we did break the channel, so a similar situation to what the DXY did, but in Euro USD's case, we haven't cleared support. So that's why I'm not eager to jump into shorts right now with euro, because you've got some time to kill and wait for price to break lower. As for some of the other pairs we haven't spoken about much, a lot of the CHF pairs, they're just pretty bearish right now. So unless you're looking to sell them, probably more so in the lower time frames. If you're looking for any reverse opportunities, I would stay away for now. Pound CHF, we can start there. That's pretty bearish and that's still falling. It's coming to some major, it's the weekly chart actually, coming to some major areas of support, which potentially price might break through. If that's the case, you got the major low here from COVID, I believe. Nope, that's not COVID. That was COVID. This is that was the big sell-off in 2022 when pound was just very, very weak, and that was off the back of Russia, Ukraine as well. But yeah, we could potentially move back into the low there as well. But we do have a lot of support right now we have to deal with and break through if that's the case. Price at the moment is using that as support, and we could very much bounce from that area. So if pound CHF is going to be bearish, wait, of course, for the break of that support level and then look for shorts on the flip. I would also say there are areas up here which sells look good. I like the consolidation here quite a lot. If price was to rally, I think that could be a smart place to short to put it back down again, to take price back down again. If you're looking for buys at support, that makes sense, of course, as well. I would wait for structure to show more signs of actually reversing first. So as you can see, a lovely push down, nice push up. I would wait for something like this to happen and then look for the pullbacks. I think that would be the safer, more conservative trade. And at least you kind of dodge the bullet of price, maybe just selling straight through the level. Because you're waiting for that reversal, maybe a double bottom or higher low. Then wait for that break of structure, then some pullbacks afterwards, and then some buys to follow that higher. So yeah, pound CHF, I feel like there could be some buys coming up soon. We're coming to a very, very big level of support. If we do respect this, there's definitely a lot of upside to take advantage of. Same thing for Euro CHF. Yeah, Euro CHF's at support as well. Not the biggest fan of Euro CHF, to be honest, because it's just another market which is ranging. But it is doing a pretty good job at respecting support right now. If I can draw it, there we go. And of course, we've got some lovely resistance just above our head. So at the moment, you can see the market is very, very flat, just respecting support, respecting resistance, and just basically fluctuating between the two. At the moment, you can see price is respecting support pretty well, and naturally, I do expect us to see a swing back into resistance. I did suggest keep a close eye on the 50% of the range. That's always a smart place to lock in some gains, and remove risk. Maybe stop loss to break even, something of that sort. 50% can always be a smart place to do that, because sometimes you don't always see the full swing of the range. So locking gains halfway is a good kind of method of protection, just in case price does turn around against you. But at the moment, yeah, I do expect to see price push higher up. We are looking quite flat, so to me, we might get another rally, another push into support, and then maybe another rally. So if you're not in the trade originally from Euro Swiss, I'd wait to see if you can see another push back into support, then look for opportunities there, then look for the buy. So keep an eye on that if you're interested to trade Euro CHF. But as long as price is trading above support, above 0.93, of course, I'll be pretty bullish for the pair. So expecting a lot more upside for Euro Swiss. It's a very flat market, but I do think long term, if I expand to the weekly chart, I do think long term price can see a lot more upside. You can see what we're doing at very, very critical levels of support. Respected it once, twice, third time, and a fourth. And so far, we're successful for each attempt. And I do think the bigger move will be to the upside. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. As with some of the other CHF pairs, Aussie CHF has been a pair which I've been keeping a close eye on. Looking to trade that one, but yeah, it hasn't really shaped up how I wanted it to. So I've kind of taken a back seat from this one. But again, the reason why I've been looking to trade it, because prices, of course, recently made new all-time lows. So you can see we took out this wick low here. That was the previous all-time low. Actually, no, sorry, this was the previous all-time low. Yeah, that was the previous all-time low. That was from COVID, actually. So a beautiful spike lower. Of course, these are previous all-time lows, which price has been taken out. But we took out the all-time low recently, so naturally I'm expecting us to recover. I still do expect us to recover. I expect to see a pretty big move to the upside for Aussie CHF pretty soon. But we've got to be patient. Price still might want to roll over a little bit, see a bit more downside, take out the lows some more before we do pull back. So you've got to be patient with that. You don't want to be in a situation where you're just continuously buying as price keeps going lower, because you're like, okay, it's made a new time low, I'm expecting a pullback, but you keep buying. That's one way to give a lot of money back to the market unnecessarily. So expecting that bigger move, but as I drop to the low time frames, I'm still seeing resistance. You got a pretty big wick here on the daily chart, which was acting as support. Looks to me that price is really struggling at this level here, and I wouldn't be surprised if we do eventually just kind of sell off a little bit. You've got the prior lows down there. Maybe price is going to be drawn towards them. So yeah, going forward with Aussie CHF, unless I see signs of reversal, so signs like that happening, then maybe yes, I can take some buys, especially if you can take out some structure as well, because even if you do have a bigger pullback, there's still areas of supply up here which could very much take us back down again. But yeah, dropping to the 4-hour chart, price is still very flat, and I do think price will most likely come lower. So not really eager to trade Aussie CHF for the buys as I once was early in the year. New Zealand CHF, I've been actually looking for a pullback to short New Zealand CHF, because of course we did break out of this range here. So I was looking for us to break back into support here. The plan was, okay, we're waiting for us to break out of this range. If we break to the upside, then perhaps we can come back to some of these highs. If we break to the downside, then perhaps price is going to push back to the low there. So yeah, very, very simple stuff there with New Zealand CHF. But yeah, the plan was very much looking for a pullback into this area. Really nice support, looking for a push into this area, and then hopefully a big swing back into that level. We had a breakout. It was kind of half-hearted, just closed below, very sideways, and then momentum hasn't really picked up since. So I'm kind of hoping we still do get that push to the upside, but at this rate, I kind of got a feeling we might just slowly roll over like this. If that's the case, I'm not really interested to trade it. But if it does come up to resistance, I'll keep an eye on. It's not a pair on the watch list, but if it does do that, I will add it to the watch list, and I'll be looking for opportunities. But at the moment, not quite there yet. And dollar CHF, another interesting CHF pair, which of course is a USD pair as well. This one is stuck at resistance right now. You've got some lovely support just above us, which right now is turning resistance. As you can see, a lot of wicks into this area, another wick into that area. We broke through, and now we're coming back to test as resistance. You got a bit of a trend line running through the market here as well. It's an interesting area. If the market is going to sell off, this would be the place I expect it to happen. You've got a lovely counter trend line there as well. If we see that snap, perhaps we do see some new lows. Equally, if price does get back above this, perhaps we do get some buys. If I move this out of the way and just use the channel, actually, you can see this does look very similar to the DXY. If you take like a mental screenshot of the DXY right now, support going across the market, you've got the descending channel, price is broken that to the upside. Let's have a quick look at dollar CHF. You got support running through the market, you got the descending channel. The only difference really with DXY and dollar CHF is that DXY has broken above this area, dollar CHF hasn't. So yeah, that's a bit of a conundrum. But if dollar CHF can go and do that and break above, then not only is the DXY above support, you got the dollar CHF above support. So this becomes a very nice buy actually. And then yeah, targets would be back to these highs there too. So dollar CHF kind of lagging behind. I think there could be some very nice buys in the near future if we do get back above that area. Diana, what is up? Okay, you love gold price action in the 4-hour time frame. Some bullish momentum. Is it worth paying attention to? I'm not a big fan of gold on the 4-hour time frame. I like gold on the daily and the weekly. I'll go through it now. I like gold daily and the weekly because there's a clear-cut uptrend and momentum's kind of clear-cut there as well. So if I zoom out, I can see that price is just in a very lovely uptrend. The weekly kind of encompasses it a lot better. And the market's been flying since October 2022. So there's a clear uptrend on the weekly, clear uptrend in the daily. As I get to the 4-hour chart, we are very flat. If I look at the screen there, I wouldn't really know there's a big uptrend at play. I would have to get to the daily and the weekly chart to see that. So yes, there's some momentum here, but I wouldn't really pay attention to that because we're about to smash into resistance right now. So because the market's been incredibly flat, I wouldn't buy into that at all. It would be similar to the momentum we had here. We're seeing really nice momentum here. What happened? Price got into resistance, came right back down. It's because the market is sideways. The market is chopping around. So I can't really trust momentum here. Not to say that we can't break to the upside here. Absolutely we can. But would I be confident in that move? Absolutely not, because of how the market's been moving. I do expect us to eventually break to the upside here, but that's more from a daily perspective. That's more from a weekly perspective because of the uptrend. And it's more from a perspective that, okay, we are ranging and eventually we're probably going to break out and eventually it's probably going to be to the upside. So I do expect momentum to pick up. I do expect us to break to the upside. So I think we probably agree on that. But in terms of the 4-hour momentum, I wouldn't buy into that personally because number one, the market's chopping around a lot, which means momentum isn't something to be followed. It's actually something to go against most likely. And at the moment right now, we're about to smash into resistance. So again, another red flag for the buy. Of course, nothing's guaranteed in the world of trading. So not to say that we can't break resistance and we can't continue. It's just the likelihood isn't with the buys right now. The likelihood isn't with momentum because every time we see momentum, we just roll over. So for that reason, I would stay away. I like gold, to be honest, but the only way I trade it is if we see a pushback down into support, then I can take some buys off there because that would make sense because we're buying from critical areas where support has held very well. And we can see buyers come back into the market. And in this case, I'm not buying into resistance. I'm not following momentum in the wrong way. In fact, I'm going against the bearish momentum that will get us here. Likewise with this level here as well. So I quite like those buys. Trying to buy the gold at highs here, I think, is not really the best way to play the market. Again, not to say it won't happen because I can't see into the future, but just in terms of what we're seeing right now, it doesn't make much sense to me. So personally, no, I don't really like that. But if we can push back to those areas, yes, I like the buys down there. Yusuf, okay, sure thing. We'll take a look at gold as well. Actually, I'm on gold right now, aren't I? But you mean gold 15-minute chart. So yeah, gold 15, same situation, really. Not a fan of at all. I mean, if we can start to see sustained breaks to the upside, so if the market can go and do something like this, a massive breakout, then yeah, I would like gold. Reason being, we've got some consistency with the market trend. We've got a low, higher high, higher low, just about a higher high in comparison to that previous high there. Another higher low, and then again another higher high. So at that point, I would be looking for a pullback, a higher low, for again another higher high, a push back into some resistance there. And of course, we've got the backing from the higher time frames, knowing that gold is overly bullish and probably still likely to break higher. And we can probably look for a retest or resistance here or something. So I do like gold to the upside. I do think gold is likely to break to the upside. So I'm very much wanting to be a buyer of gold and more so focus with the buys. But we need more evidence on the 15. There might be a short-term move here, actually. That would be more of like a bigger swing on the 15, maybe more like an hourly trade, to be honest. At the moment, you might find some nice quick buys off this area because there is some consistency here with these higher highs and higher lows. So you might find a nice pullback into this area and maybe just a nice push back into the high here or maybe into the high there. And then you probably want to call it a day just because this is still very significant resistance and price could still very much top out here and come right back down, just like we did, last week pretty much. So there could be some nice short-term buys here for like the New York session potentially, or maybe a couple of hours. So yeah, I think that could make a lot of sense. You've got some consistency there. You've got some nice higher lows. There is a trend here with some nice momentum there to follow. But again, I wouldn't want to take it past highs here just in case we don't come back down. And just like I said as well, if you can get that bigger consistency with a bigger move to the upside, that's great as well. That'll give us the green light to look for a much bigger swing back into 34.40, 34.50 and probably beyond. So there could be some nice buys for gold long term if we do start clearing resistance. If we're going to continue to respect it, continue to chop around, then I wouldn't really waste my time there. Yes, I quite like this smaller kind of idea, very kind of in and out trade, but it makes a lot of sense on the 15. I think that could be a nice smart trade to take. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with gold. And actually on silver, I think that's the much cleaner opportunity, the much better, the better metal to trade at this moment in time, because this has momentum. It has a quite clear trend. So I quite like the momentum here on silver because it's quite obvious and the trend's quite clear. You got nice-ish momentum there. You got a big consolidation, really nice break to the upside, more consolidation, and again another nice break to the upside. So I can see momentums here. This is momentum worthwhile to follow. So we're in a trend. We're not moving sideways. Conditions are good. We're not necessarily coming to a big level right now. Buys make sense. So even if I drop to the 15 on this one came back to respect the consolidation here. Nice reaction, nice buy. I would say even if we come back down there again, that's still a smart place for a buy, to be honest. We haven't necessarily seen such a strong move higher. Yes, we've broken through the highs there and created some new highs, but I would still suggest wait for that bigger pullback for a buy there. And then of course you got some buys back into the prior high. That to me looks like a smart place to take a trade. Well, in terms of the targets anyway. I still like this as an opportunity on the 4-hour chart. I'm still looking for a bigger pullback. Of course, been looking for this for the past couple of weeks now, ever since we had the breakout. Unfortunately, silver's just been a little bit too bullish to get that retest, but I really do like the buys with silver, and I think this has still got a lot more upside. I've talked about 40. I've talked about the all-time high at 50. I really do expect silver to go and catch up with gold and see a lovely trend. So I personally am quite bullish for the foreseeable future for silver. As long as we stay within this uptrend, the buys always look good in this situation. And do you think gold will eventually come into a similar light as well with silver in terms of a big breakout? And that is not gold. in terms of a big breakout. So, eventually this sideways move will come to an end. But at the moment, we're in the thick of it. You got to be careful. Look to buy low, look to sell high. That's the best way to trade a ranging market. Try and look to buy into highs is always going to be a tricky situation. So yeah, I'll be careful of that. But going forward for myself, New Zealand CAD is a pair which I quite like the look of it. I feel like I could get set up later this week. If not, of course, not the worst thing in the world. I'm just going to stay patient for a healthy buying opportunity. I'm looking for a big break to the downside for this one. Of course, the key thing is we are ranging as well. So I need to wait for us to break to the downside and look for some retests. Or if we do push to the upper end of the channel, I can look for some shorts up at the high there as well. So that would make a lot of sense for New Zealand CAD. Pound Aussie, I like this one to the downside as well. Very similar situation to New Zealand CAD in terms of we've got a ranging market right now. I'm either looking for a push back into the highs up here, or I'm looking for price to break to the downside down here. But the plan is looking for a big short back into 2. I think we can probably go further, but I think for now just keep it simple. That's a pretty big level there. It's also a high here. Probably keep an eye on as well. But yeah, Pound Aussie, I like the shorts. Of course, right now we are respecting support here. And perhaps we do see a swing back to the upper end of the channel. So there might be some buys to take advantage on the way up. I'm not so interested because I think the bigger move is with the short. So I kind of just stay in the short kind of mentality, short mode until proven otherwise. Really, if of course price was to suddenly break to the upside, I'll reanalyze, rethink things. But yeah, I'm very kind of zoned in the shorts. I'm seeing things that back that up. So I'm going to stick with that until proven otherwise, really. So looking at Pound Aussie shorts, I'm looking at Pound USD shorts as well. I like the pullback in this area here, nice area of supply. Looking for a retest of that for some shorts, kind of like a big head and shoulder opportunity. So there's your left, there's your head, and there's potentially your right shoulder. And looking for a big swing to the downside there for Pound USD. Dollar CAD, keeping an eye. I'm not so concerned about the shorts for dollar CAD. I quite like the reversal. If price can break to the upside, break through this neckline here of this lovely double bottom pattern, so break to the upside, I'll be looking for some pullbacks, some higher lows, and some buys looking to follow that. So I quite like what I'm seeing there with dollar CAD. As for the yen pairs, of course, euro yen still firmly on the watch list. It has been for some time. Lovely break to the upside for this one. Big move. I got a couple of areas I'm looking for a pullback. Of course, we broke out that range wonderfully, and now the likelihood of us pushing back to the highs there is pretty high. So if we do see a down move, it's likely to be a pullback. Try and find the higher low, and that should be a very nice swing trade to take advantage of. And a push to 175, sorry, will be the plan. Pound yen, I feel like it's a ticking time bomb. Hopefully we are going to break to the upside, and hopefully we can do that pretty soonish, and then we can look for some pullbacks on the way to resistance up here. Same kind of situation with euro yen, looking for a breakout, pullbacks, and then some buys back into the high. Aussie yen, like the look of this one as well. Looking for a pullback now. We've seen really nice breakout recently on the weekly chart. So that's your resistance there going through the market. Price broke through that with that lovely bullish weekly candle. Now looking for a pullback, retest of that area, then some buys back into 98, 99. So that's very much the plan there with Aussie yen. New Zealand yen is on the watch list as well. I do feel like Pound Aussie is a lot better. Aussie yen, sorry, is a lot better in terms of the quality of the opportunity, but they're similar pairs. So I'll see which one gives me the better trade, but just looking for a breaking test of resistance there, turn support, and trade it back into this area. So keep an eye on that, but I think I'll just focus on Aussie yen and CAD yen as well. Lovely resistance, price created recently. If I drop to the daily, you'll see a little bit better. So some lovely resistance, price created recently. Looking for a pullback into that area, looking for the next higher low. Maybe some trendline confluence. If you can see a deep enough test of that area, maybe not, but I would still be happy to trade even without the confluence of the trend line. It would be nice to see if we can spike into that though, but looking for a higher low and the push back into 109.5, 110 roughly. So yeah, very, very bullish on the yen pairs, very bearish for the USD pairs, but still waiting for dollar strength to come into the market. And also New Zealand CAD looking to short, and pound Aussie looking to short as well. I can solve the problem of having poor entries. Look back at your trades. Why are your entries poor? You know, you have to have the reason why they're poor. Is it poor because you keep getting stopped out? Well, then maybe it's not necessarily the entry. It could be the stop loss. Maybe your stop loss is too tight. You might need to look at giving yourself a bit of room. You can also look at potentially entering a lot lower down. Maybe you're too quickly to enter the market. You know, let's say if you're looking to trade pullbacks quite a lot of the time, but quite a lot of the time you're taking entries here, your stops are here, entries here, stops are there. So you can either look at this by widening your stop to give you a bit more room to take advantage of the pullback, or try entering a little bit later. You know, try not to take the first possible entry you find. Maybe look at the second or the third. Get into the trade a little bit later. Find those deeper pullbacks. Same situation can occur, you know, continuously. So you can experiment with different things. You have to look back at your trades to find the issue, because it could be anything really. But looking back over your trades, you're probably able to see a consistency between them in terms of, are you entering a little bit too early? Is your stop loss too tight? You need to give yourself a bit more room. If it's the direction, then it's not necessarily the entries. It's more so your analysis and your bias, which is a different kettle of fish. But in terms of entries, they can be quite simple to improve, but you got to know why they're not working. Is it you're entering too early? Are you entering too late? If you're entering too late, then maybe you need to be a bit more aggressive. Do you need to widen your stops? Those are questions which your journal will probably have the answer to. And if you don't have a journal, you can always just look back for your trading history. You can download that through MT4 pretty easily. Look back at your trades, look at the consistency, what on average are you doing wrong, and work your way from there. But it could be a number of reasons, but you'll find that if you look back through your previous trades. But anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I hope you have found it useful and enjoyed it and found it informative. If that's the case, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell as well so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. If you're not a part of the Telegram signal group, which we have launched with Zenthrix, very excited to share that with you guys. We're actually celebrating the launch with providing that service for free at the moment. It is limited, so if you are interested, make sure you get at it. I'll drop the link again in the chat. Again, it's free at the moment, but it will be a paid service in the future. There's plenty of signals there across different time frames, different pairs, different markets, different ideas, powered by AI. So if you're looking for ideas in the market, want to experiment with different signals and different ideas, try it out, test it out, and let me know how you guys do find it as well. So check it out if you haven't joined already. But guys, really appreciate you tuning in for another stream. I will be live again tomorrow, so I hope to see you all there. Again, before you do leave, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out and it helps grow the content as well, so I do really appreciate that. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great day, and I'll catch you all in the next stream.
Introducing Zenthrix AI-powered trading signals service. Tired of second-guessing your trades? Zenthrix AI scans the markets 24/7 with powerful, proven indicators built to give you clarity. You get 200+ signals every day on 15-minute, 1-hour, 4-hour, and daily charts. We cover Forex, crypto, commodities, indices, and stocks, so you're covered no matter what you trade. And the best part, you get all this delivered 3 ways, every day. Web alerts give you fast, clean access right from your dashboard. Telegram delivers real-time entries, confidence levels, sentiment, and trade duration. And email gives you the full breakdown, including 2 profit target levels and deep market analysis. Just hold $5 worth of ZTR. See what you can achieve with powerful AI trading intelligence by Zenthrix. Try it now. And join our Telegram channel.